Hi, I'm Kristi Belcamino. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. It's a little bit new to me, and I'm excited to be an author on YouTube, and I was even more excited to find out that it's a thing, that there's something called authortube, and there's a set of questions that newbies, which is what I am to YouTube and authortube, can answer. And so I'm joining into the fun and letting you know a little bit about me. So the first question on the authortube questionnaire, it's official, it's a thing, is how did you find out about authortube? And that was really easy. I started trying to find other authors who were on YouTube and see what they're doing and what's interesting and maybe how I can make a YouTube channel. I'm super Italian with my hands, can you tell? That's interesting for other people to watch and not just something where I like being a little bit goofy, but I do that with this puppy talk, coffee talk that my husband and I do on Facebook Live every Friday, and then we upload it to YouTube. But I'd like this to be a little more focused, a little more serious, a little bit more about the writer life. So the second question is what genres do you write in? I am pretty hardcore crime fiction. It's not light, easy reading, or it is easy reading actually. I hope that you can just whip through the pages. I am definitely a pulp writer. I'm not interested in you awing over my beautiful use of the language. I'm interested in you being so caught up in the story that you realize that you stayed awake all night reading my books. And some of the best compliments that I've ever received are people who've told me, damn you, Kristi, I didn't sleep at all, I couldn't put your book down, or reviewers who have said, I missed my train stop, and I mean, that is the highest compliment I can get. I want to be a good writer, I'm always improving my craft, I want to make beautiful sentences, but that is the last thing that I worry about. I'm interested in entertaining you and telling a good story. So definitely crime fiction that is a little bit darker. I like to show that there are really moments of hope and brilliance in the middle of our worst tragedies at that, and we see that. My hometown paradise burned to the ground recently, and there's so many beautiful stories of people being decent and good that are coming out of this horrible tragedy. And I find that as a police reporter at the newspaper, that's what keeps me going back, is there are these stories of people just being amazing in the face of the darkest times of their lives and other people's lives. So, love crime fiction. I probably will always have to write in crime fiction. Are you a plotter, pantser, or planter? So I guess that must be a combination of them. I'm definitely a plotter. I like to outline. I like to tell my story ahead of time on index cards, one index card per scene. I don't always do every single scene in the book, but I definitely plot the key ones and know that I have to get from this key one to this key one, and I don't always know how I'm going to do it. But I need those benchmarks, those landmarks to get from one place to the other. What publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or use? So I have had two different literary agents. I parted ways with both of them because I didn't think it was the right direction for me. They're both wonderful people. I probably could have, as a matter of fact, I would stop my own video. That was so dumb. Anyway, my first agent is definitely responsible for kicking off my career. She got me a 4-book deal with HarperCollins, and that was a great way to enter the writing world, and I just felt like a rock star, and it was fabulous. But now I found that I love being independent. I love doing it on my own. Financially, it's a much smarter move, and I love the creative control. So I don't have any publishing company or agent. It's just me, and I'm loving it. Okay, what authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? I really want to do some insight into what the writer life, what it's like to be a writer, but really this channel is mainly for readers. So I will focus it toward them. It won't be about writing tips necessarily, but it will be a glimpse into what it's like for me to be a writer, and I'm excited to share that. I have been doing this now, let's see, my first book came out in 2014. But I wrote it maybe 3 years before that, my very first book. And so I've been doing it for a while, and I have some good practices and routines that I'd love to share. So when did you start writing? So when my 13-year-old started kindergarten, I had 2 hours to myself every day. So as soon as she got on the bus, I would sit down and write until she got back off the bus. And so it was like, I think it ended up being about 2.5 hours every day. And within 3 months, I had a book, and it was very exciting. And that's my first book, Blessed Are the Dead. And then it took me about 2 years to get an agent after that. All right, what was the first story you ever wrote? Well, that answered that question. Blessed Are the Dead was the first book I ever wrote. I wrote tons of stories growing up, of course, nothing that should ever see the light of day, but no books. I never thought I could write a book until I was in my 40s. What authors have inspired you writing the most? Definitely Joan Didion, Ernest Hemingway. As far as crime fiction, Lisa Unger is a giant inspiration. I love Laura Lippman is a great inspiration. She also came from newspaper, and Edna Buchanan, people who showed me that you can go from being a journalist to being a writer, a novelist. So those are just a few off the top of my head. I'm trying to do this all unscripted, so that's why I might be a little bit raw. Okay, do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find the time? I am lucky enough to be able to schedule my writing sessions. I write Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon. So as soon as that last kid is taken to school, I have 2, and the last one I have to drive for maybe another year or 2. And then I sit down and write until noon. So I definitely am lucky to have that. Discipline, I know it's a valuable time, so it makes me sit down and get it done. Do you type on a typewriter, write everything out by hand or a blend, and where do you write in general? I used to go to a coffee shop every day, but I have found that I love being at my dining room table. I'm pointing over there. I just have my laptop, and I have a drawer that has some things that I store, like my index cards, and I set it all out and get to work. And it seems to work for me right now. Every once in a while I mix it up at the coffee shop, but for the most part I like being able to take a break and maybe gosh, I wish I was Dan Brown and did push-ups on my break. But when I take a writing break, it's more likely putting a load in the laundry or going to get a drink of water or making a cup of coffee. So that's what I like, being at home. Let's see. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of authortube? I'm really looking forward to learning and trying to make this the best channel that I can. So thank you. I hope this wasn't too long, and I'm sorry it's in 2 parts, and hopefully I'll be able to finagle that on so it's not so awkward. But you can definitely... Is it filming me? So yeah, of course, the screen went blank. You can check me out on this YouTube channel. I'll have links to where I am on Facebook, where I am on Instagram. Those are kind of my big social media places, and I'd love to see you over there. And you can also find me at KristiBelcamino.com, and I'll put a link to that. Thank you so much.